Hello everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I wanted to do a favorites video, and I've been thinking about kind of my stance on favorites videos in general, especially since I did my No Buy 365. And I want to make sure when I'm doing favorites videos, there's a big emphasis on things I've had for a really long time. So of course there will be the odd new thing here and there, but I want to highlight things that work really, really hard in whether it's my makeup bag, my wardrobe, my house, my everyday things I use every day in my life. I want to kind of give those things a spotlight in a bid to avoid kind of just showing newness all the time, because that feels important to me. So that's what we're going to do today. The sky feels quite grey in LA, and it means that the daylight is pretty nice for filming. So I was like, let's try a daylight video. I wish I could film like this all the time, but it's just so inconsistent in the lighting. And yeah, I'm excited to show you the things I've been loving not just this month. Again, this for me is the whole point of a favorites video. When I say April favorites, you could call this Q1 favorites. You could call this like some of these things I've been loving for like the past 2 years. And I just feel it's really nice to shine a light on the things we use every day that we love, in addition to, like I said, the odd new thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with beauty first. So I always come back to this foundation. I think this foundation I've been buying for the past, I want to say like 10, 12 years. And it is Vita Lumiere Aqua. I'm wearing the shade 20. Yes, the shade Rage isn't amazing. That is definitely true. But there's something about this foundation that I still think when, like I'm wearing it right now, it's that perfect amount of, it's not matte, but it's also not glowy. So it's very easy to kind of change it to exactly the type of finish you want. When people talk about like a natural finish in foundation, I think that's very confusing as to what that actually means. This is what I think of. I think this does have quite good coverage. I feel like I have cream products on top, but it does what I want it to do in that it makes my skin look kind of like polished but not too done, and it just covers the little bit of redness I do have where I want it covering without, it still looks like skin. That's the key, I think. So the next one, I feel like when it comes to my skincare, I have become what I would consider pretty low maintenance. I've never been a kind of like 10-step, 12-step skincare person, but this has become, I think I'm just getting lazier as well as I get older. I just don't care as much. And I feel like as long as my skin is hydrated, I'm not fussed about anti-aging products, even though every brand in the world is going to use that term. But what I've been reaching for my like go-to moisturizer is actually this, and I love La Roche-Posay. I've made no secret about that. It's one of my favorite skincare brands, especially for the price point. It's pretty easy to get hold of most places. This is the Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream. Now, I've talked before about my love for the double repair moisturizing cream, but this is the triple moisturizing repair cream. And it has like shea butter, niacinamide, ceramide 3, all that good stuff. It's fragrance free, and it says suitable for babies to adults. And I've always thought of like creams like this as just like, I presume they're just for the body, but this says on it body and face. And this is now my go-to moisturizer. It's so easy. And I think when you do find a brand that does a moisturizer that you can use for your body but is also incredible on the face, look how much is in here. Like, I think this costs like $20 or just less than $20, and it has 400 mil. So I just feel like having something like this now, I just have it. And I love a pump. What is it about taking a lid off something? I am the laziest person when it comes to having to take lids off things. It's literally like 2 seconds of your time, but if there's a pump, I'm just sold instantly. So this has been incredible. My mum used it loads when she was here. It's also like accepted by the National Eczema Association. I was born with lots of eczema on my tummy. I don't have it anymore, but whenever like one of my friends is like, I need some good skincare, I don't want to like pay like high-end prices, what do you recommend that actually works? I always say La Roche-Posay. So not sponsored, just love, and I'm really happy to know that I'm just going to keep rebuying this moisturizer in a pump. So another style favorite that has been working really hard for me now that I'm kind of entering spring, I have done the spring-summer switchover in my wardrobe, is these shoes from Dear Francis, which I brought pre-loved. I think it was before I started my no buy, I think. And they're just like the perfect brown sandal. They are so comfortable. And I will say, Dear Francis is one of those brands that I think you can actually get at such a good price pre-loved. I think I got these for like $60 and retail. I don't know if they still make this design anymore, but they used to retail for about 450. It is these, like the heel is just perfection. Let me hold one up, that's probably easier. So it's like the most perfect color brown. It's like chocolate brown and it just has two straps. It's very, very minimal, but one strap has this kind of like mock, is it going to show up like a kind of mock croc on one piece, and then one is smooth. I love the toe. We know I love a square toe. And the heel. This heel is perfection. I feel like if something is too flat, to me it just feels like I'm wearing like barefoot and it hurts. Whereas I can walk for ages in these. And I love the simplicity. I love them with trousers. They were in pretty good condition when I got them. I do need to kind of like tape down a little bit of the sole on one of them, but that's a very easy fix. And it's such a nice reminder that you can get such good quality pieces pre-loved. And I'm thinking about doing a Substack piece on like the brands that I think you can find really great deals on pre-loved, whether that's the Real Real, Vestiaire, Depop, places like that. So let me know as well if you would like me to do that, and I'll add that to my list. Okay, so let's talk about like life favorites, I think is what I would call them. Now, the first one, if this is new to you, the first time you're hearing it, I love books. I love writing. I'm really focused on my writing at the minute over on my Substack. And books, when I came out of like a difficult mental health space, like earlier this year, I think in the past year in general, I've just come back to books in a way that it just satiates me in a way social media can't. And I'm really grateful for that. So the first thing I would say is my library card. That is one of my first favorites, is my library card. I've lived in LA for 8 years, and it only dawned on me this year to be like, why don't I have a library card? There's so many more books I could read. And I try and buy as many of my books secondhand as I can. And like thrift, I love a good book thrift haul. But my recent books I got from the library to read is Sally Rooney, Intermezzo. I've been on the waiting list for that in my library for ages. And then this one, which I have started reading, which is Know My Name, Chanel Miller. So I wouldn't call these both favorites yet, because obviously I haven't finished reading them, but I'm showing them in place of my library card. And this is just a reminder, if you don't have a library card, go get one. It is one of the best free resources you can get. And I'm so, so grateful to have one again. Actual books that are favorites from this month is Stoner by John Williams. This is one of the NYRB books. I feel like this is a book that's more about the characters than a storyline. There is something that happens in the book that's kind of like a scandal of sorts. But I feel like what I loved about this book is it kind of really looked at relationships of like subtle hatred and what that can look like when it's almost like, when like someone's being mean to you, but like no one else can tell. That's kind of what it reminded me of. So this is not a very eloquent review at all, but I just like that I felt it really looked at relationships. It looked at how people can manipulate each other and control them, and how relationships become a game for some people. So I really love this book. I found myself like the first 70 pages, I was like, yeah. And then afterwards I was like, okay, I'm in. And for me, as soon as I'm like in a book like that, I'm like, okay, I can't put it down. And I really, really loved it. So the next favorites, and I remember when I first discovered these, I was like, why have I not done this before? Now, especially if you are someone who likes reading to feel really, really cozy, I'm gonna guess that means you don't want to have like crazy bright stark lights. I know I don't like having that. So what me and Dave both have, and legit, sometimes we sit in the dark in our house, like all the lights out and just candles on, and then we have our book torch. This is our rock and roll Saturday nights. And I think we got these from Amazon, but it's like, it just folds up. It has the little bit that sticks on the back of your book. And then you've got like the kind of tilty head that moves, goes all around. It sort of looks like this. And you have warm light, cold light. I just keep it on like the dimmest light possible. And so again, if I'm ever traveling on an airplane and I want to read, I have it. There's something about reading in really dark lit rooms and the light being really soft and cozy, to me really enhances the experience of reading a book. So this is a favorite. I feel like I kind of can't live without this now. And I think I've probably charged it once since I've had it, and I've had it for months and months. So the charge lasts ages. I think it's the same charger as like a new iPhone. USB-C? USC? You know which one I mean. So I feel like 2025 for me was the year I really found my hobbies, like really truly leaned into them without trying anymore. Like I've written about this on my Substack, but I've had times where I've been in like Michael's, which is like a big, similar to Hobbycraft if you're in the UK, where I've literally been like, I don't have a hobby and I'm having like an existential crisis that I can't find a hobby I like. And I think it's because I was so burnt out from work. There was just no space to have a hobby. And that really changed me this year without trying. And I've always journaled, but I feel like this year, especially, I went back to like journals that aren't trying to fix myself. They're not journals that are trying to solve a problem. It's more just like letting things be, and also memory keeping and going back to like my version of scrapbooking. So I can't not include my Paper Republic journals. So I have this one, which has the most beautiful charm I got off of Etsy. This is so cute. It's like a little cameo. So I have this is the A5 portfolio, and that's my like stay at home one. And then I have my A6, which my July Rose jewelry charm just said it has shipped. So it should arrive soon. And I have a whole video on my journal and planning setup, so I'll do an iCard somewhere for you and you can see like a proper in-depth, but this is the A6 one. And it just, smelling the leather, holding it, I find myself so drawn to tactile experiences. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that need to be reconnected with things we can touch, things we can feel when so much of our life is online. And I would say my favorite book in here is my commonplace notebook, because it's where I record memories, it's where I record recipes, it's where my friend won't mind me showing this, but this is my friend Brooke. She came to stay and she was like in bed and I was like, oh my God, you look so cute. Let me take a little photo of that. And I kind of will take photos of things I baked her and like things we talked about, and just being able to record memories is so, so important to me, especially as I'm getting older. I'm like, wait, I want to have all these notebooks where I can hold these memories. And by the same token, I think a big part that's made this fun for me, the way I journal now, is yes, there's still space for like existential crisis journaling, as I call it. But the memory keeping is much freer. It's much more like what I would have done in a scrapbook as a kid. And anytime I see something that I love, I print it out. Like I'll see a picture, and I actually have a Substack that I think will be out by the time this video comes out, where I've made templates, like free templates for you to have of over my Substack, of like how I make, like I'll make little fake Polaroids. I'll make like things that make it kind of scrapbooky and cute without having to necessarily buy loads of stuff. The only thing I will say that I do find myself reaching for a lot is stickers. And like these ones, these little bulldog clips, these are from a company called Sarika Studios. Sarika Studios. And this is like an example of some of their stickers they have. And these are the ones I'd say I use the most. The sheet where it comes with safety pins, the pins, drawing pins, and the bulldog clips. I am obsessed with these. And I just always have like some ready to go in the inside of my A6 portfolio from Paper Republic. I think the code should still work. They have a 30% off code for you. I'll put it on the screen where you can get 30% off Paper Republic bundles. I don't make any money from that. I don't make any commission or anything. They just gave a code for you to use. So feel free to enjoy that if you would like. And I've never loved a journal as much as I love this one. That's quite a statement, because I have a lot of journals and I've gone through a lot of planners. This comes with me absolutely everywhere. And I'm just so excited about how it's already patinaing. It's already starting to get like the kind of bumps and scrapes and scratches, which just, I can't wait to see what it's going to look like 20 years from now. So I can't not include those. I feel like they are a newer thing to me, but I'm already in love with them. So in the other realm of hobbies, the other thing that came totally by surprise to me is how much I love making candles. Now, this isn't a business move. This isn't something that like I necessarily do at scale. It's like I just love the process of making candles. And there's been a lot of change in my life the past year. And I definitely got to a point where I was like, I can't keep buying all these like $100 candles that I used to be able to afford. And I was like, but I've got these lovely pots and I want to use them. I have enough pen pots. I have enough makeup brush holders. but I want to start reusing like the pots that I have. And it literally started so innocently as like, yeah, I just want to be able to like make my own candles because A, that would be so much cheaper, and I could choose the scents I want. And once I got into it, I was like, wow, this is really scientific, like testing the wicks and testing the melt pools and all the lingo that has just made it become so fun. So I have one here that did tunnel. That's a very candle community word. It started to tunnel a bit on the side, but I did make my own stickers because I'm just that little bit extra. But yeah, making candles has become a favorite. And the reason I wanted to do it once I'd kind of made enough for me using up old pots and stuff was I was like, normally when you go to someone's house for dinner, you take a bottle of wine, right? And or maybe a bunch of flowers or a box of chocolates, whatever. And I was like, oh, I want to make homemade candles that I can take someone when I come to dinner. So I can think about like the scent they would want. I did buy boxes, I'm not going to lie, to put them in. Yeah, I've just really, really enjoyed making them. And I find it very kind of, I go into a zone where I'm doing it, where I'm like, oh, I'm so engrossed in this. And then obviously the process of like curing and watching them and kind of testing what burns well. All those things have been really, really fun and really gets me like out my head. Okay, so I have to mention a thrifted item and then one that is a new item. So thrifted item is this beautiful, like I even went into the thrift store being like, I really hope I can find a brass tray, which never happens. Usually with thrifting, you have to go in being like, may the thrifting gods be on my side. You never know what you're going to find. And I found this in the first thrift store I went into. It is so beautiful. It has like really lovely embossing on the back and on the front, like the same kind of pattern. And I love how it's already like patinaed a little bit. And I found that in a Goodwill and I was like, I'm going to start doing tea trays when I do my journals. Again, this is very much Jalissa, July Rose inspired. I'll link her channel because I love her. And I found things like coasters in the thrift store as well. That was like, oh, I'm going to make cute coasters. I'm going to make it really cute. And I had to find a teapot, which took some time because I did try so hard to find a thrifted one I liked, but I had a very specific vision. And in the end, I found this one. How cute is this? I love it. And for anyone who doesn't know, I have a like semi-black kitchen. So I love black. Black is my favorite color, and I'm not sorry. And I've been getting loose teas from the farmer's market. There's one they do which is lemongrass and vanilla, and it's so good. And it's nice to have something in the evening. I'm a tea drinker. I'm English, so I love a cup of tea. But having something that's decaf in the evening is so lovely. And just being able to like pour out into my cups. I have some beautiful cups that my sister-in-law, she's actually a potter, and she made me these cups. So I have like the most beautiful cups for it. And when everything's on my tea tray, I light one of my homemade candles. I'm either reading a book or journaling. And I just feel very, very content. It's such a nice feeling. So yay for hobbies. Took a while, but we got there. And I know it's that annoying thing where it's like when you stop trying so hard, you'll probably find it. But reading, making candles, journaling, scrapbooking is the key to my happiness. And stickers. I would say stickers as well, because I think it brings that like childlike element of cutting things out, sticking them down. And I'll link to the Substack below where I actually talk about like how I make my style journal. Because again, I do a lot of I would say this is another favorite too, the wardrobe playdate, which is something we do over on my Substack, where every 2 weeks I give a theme and it's used as kind of like a starting point for the next 2 weeks. You might do a 10-minute wardrobe playdate. It could be a 20-minute one. You might plan out your outfits for the next 7 days. You might just bank some ideas. But I've realized this is honestly why I am never bored in my wardrobe. Like my wardrobe continues to bring me so much joy. And I think it's because of the wardrobe playdate. Like I'm always able to create a creative constraint that makes me infinitely more creative using what I have than feeling the constant need to buy more. And I'm going to do an up video at some point when I have some things to show of what I've brought since my no buy, but really it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. And most of what I've brought, like, is thrifted pieces. So I'm also trying to make more of a concerted effort to buy pieces that are thrifted or secondhand or from an independent designer where possible. There are obviously the odd things that don't fit into that category, but that's what I've been trying to kind of like do more of coming out of my no buy. So I definitely consider I'm on somewhat of a low buy without intentionally thinking about it. I just think my wardrobe is in such a good place. I don't need for anything. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And the wardrobe playdate continues to be the thing that brings me infinite joy in my wardrobe and means that I'm never bored. So I think that is everything. That was quite a lot, maybe, for this video. I'm not sure, but let me know if you like this kind of format. I love the idea of like sit down, chatty, kind of talking about favorite things, but not it having to be like, here's a new lipstick, here's a new thing, here's a new launch. Like, I think there's something about, to me, it's so important to celebrate the things that have been around a long time as well. And if I'm showing you a new thing, it be something that genuinely felt as good as something I've used for a long time or better than. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I would love for you to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and come check out my Substack. I am writing a lot more there. And I think if I'm honest, I'm at a place where I'm just taking a break from Instagram. It's not the vibe for me anymore. Or at least at this season of my life, I'm just not feeling it. So I'm spending most of my time over here and writing over my Substack, and that feels really good. Like, still keeping those kind of like slow vibes is what's working for me at the moment. So I hope you'll stick around and let me know in the comments what's your favorites. What have you been enjoying this month? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.